Welcome to the High Adventure Scouting Podcast. This is the source for all things high adventure for scouts, scouters, and anyone else interested in promoting high adventure trips for our youth. You can find all kinds of great high adventure options for your scouts at highadventurescouting.com. We are constantly updating the list of cool trips, and we want your input on your best trip. Welcome, high adventure enthusiasts. We're excited to have something to highlight high adventure base on this edition of the High Adventure Scouting Podcast. Now, today we're joined by Scott Thiessen, Director for Zink High Adventure Base, better known as ZBase. ZBase is located in Oklahoma and is part of the Indian Nations Council in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Scott, thanks for joining us today on the High Adventure Scouting Podcast.
Appreciate the invite.
No problem. Now, I understand you've been involved in scouting for a long time. Now, how long have you been at ZBase?
This will be my fifth year doing ZBase. Started out here with nothing. We came here to develop the whole thing. Now we're getting ready to do our grand opening here in 2020. So I've been here from the start of it. So,
wow, grand opening. That's funny to hear since you've been around a while. So that's great. Now, obviously the purpose of this podcast is to give listeners a little more information about your program offerings. I'm sure many outside the regional area might not know much about your programs, especially those further away. So give me a 1,000-foot overview of what ZBase is all about, and we'll ask some specific questions about that later.
All right. Well, ZBase, like I said, stands for Zink High Adventure Base. And we are located just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. In fact, our property is only about 35 minutes downtown Tulsa. We have 35,000 acres that we operate off of. We have 11 unique outdoor adventure areas. And then crews will come and be on a trek style. So you'll hit most or some of all the adventure areas on your trek. And it'll be over a week-long period. So we really aim to do everything unique based. So all of our programs are very unique to scouting and to the area in general. So we just try to be a little different. Included in this is 35,000 acres, but we also sit on a 10,000-acre lake and have 16 miles of shoreline on that lake. And then we actually go down and touch another lake. It's called Keystone Lake. And that's part of the Arkansas River complex. So we have a very large area and lots of really cool stuff that we're going to be doing.
That sounds awesome. Now, this is not a typical summer camp. This is more high adventure based. Is that correct?
Yes. In fact, it's all high adventure. So definitely not a typical Scouts BSA summer camp. There are no merit badges or advancements taught or earned. If something happens that leaders want to take back to their troop or crew committees and get advancements for, that's up to them. But we focus purely on high adventure and doing unique outdoor. We also have a lot of leadership training embedded in all of our programs.
Great. Yeah, that's definitely something that everybody will want to know, because it's not typical that you see kind of a standalone base, and that's kind of a neat concept to have that. So I know you have different treks and different activities. Talk a little bit about those activities and how that the program really works, because it is a kind of a different option that most leaders are not used to. So that's part of the reason why I brought you on. I wanted you to explain kind of how this works and the kind of activities that the scouts will be doing.
Okay. Well, we have, as far as our adventure areas go, and when I say adventure areas, it's the program areas or individual camps that we offer. We call them adventure areas. We do ATVs, and we'll have what we call aerial adventures. In that is included our 70-foot adventure tower. So think of it as a giant copse course, all inclusive, but it's 24 feet wide. It's completely made of steel, and it has over 41 cope elements included on it, and it has ways that we can expand to over 100 on there as we continue to grow. And then included in our aerial adventures, we have a 1,300-foot zip line that crosses a portion of Skytook Lake. We have a wilderness survival area. We'll do scenarios and extreme wilderness survival scenarios. We have an aquatics adventure area where we'll be doing jet skis, stand-up paddleboarding. A lot of our canoe treks will come in and out of our aquatics area. We have an area called our Turkey Creek Western Village, and we actually able to build a real Western village. And then on one side of the street is a facade that has cowboy action shooting. And then the other side of the street, we actually have real use buildings where everybody will stay in bunkhouses. And we have we call it an eatery. It's a little saloon area where you get root beer and play cards and eat a cowboy stew dinner while you're there. We have a Ninja Warrior course, and including that is tree houses. We have a Native American adventure where we do equestrian and action archery. And then we have a sporting clays complex. We have an 18-station sporting clays complex that we'll do sporting clays on. We have a mountain bike adventure. And then we have what we're working on right now as far as our finishing up on construction is our cable wake park, which is obviously very unique almost anywhere, but especially into scouting. So we're really excited to get that up and going. And then at our base camp, obviously when you check in and check out, we have campsites there, but we also have lake access. And then we'll also have 2 pools. And in one of our pools, we have a climbing wall. So when you come in and out of base camp, you can go splash around in the water. And as we expand our programs, eventually we'll be doing scuba. We'll do your scuba training in the pools and then your open water out in the lake. So when you're on all this stuff, it works kind of like Philmont or some of the other national high adventure bases. So you do pick a trek. We offer 8 different treks right now, and they're all color coordinated. So there's a color associated with it. And then you pick your trek, and then it's a week-long trek. And it's kind of like a Philmont where we don't actually start on Sunday and on Saturday. You kind of pick your day, and we have treks coming in and starting every day. And then as we go through, treks will be coming off every day as well.
Wow. All right. That creates a lot more opportunity, especially for the leaders who are taking off work and those kind of things. So that's always a thing that we look at in our troop. So
Sure.
the new option that you guys are just about ready to open up. Tell me a little bit about that. The cable.
The Cable Wake Park?
Yeah.
All right, so a cable wake park is just imagine wakeboarding behind a boat. This one, instead of doing a boat, it's a giant cable system, pulley system that turns you around in a giant circle. You can actually put 6 wakeboarders on at a time, and they go around in a giant circle and they're able to wakeboard by just this giant system. So there's no boat motors involved. There's no anything like that. We're sitting on this one's actually on a private lake. So there's no other boat motors or anything else out there. It's just us wakeboarding and doing all that, learn how to do all that and doing all the necessary cool tricks and jumps and everything else like that all in one spot.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's really unique. There's only, probably a dozen in the country. And as far as scouting goes, obviously nothing like that anywhere. So
that's great. Now, do you have a favorite option, or is that a favorite activity, or is that like picking your favorite kid?
Yeah, they are all really great. I've been fortunate enough to be the person that got to go pick out where the area is going to be, and then work with the contractors on designing and everything like that. So we're really proud of everything that we're doing and how unique it is. I've had, as we're building and testing this stuff out, I've got to do all of them, and they're all really awesome.
How do we get your job? That's awesome.
It's been a unique job, and I definitely something very proud of where we started and where we are and what we're going to become here in the near future. But seeing this stuff come from just putting a stake in the ground to where we're at now and what we're going to be is they're all really, really great activities, and how we're able to fit them all together into a trek and complement each other, I think will be really cool. So when we come out, one of the other unique things that we do is, we obviously have to hike and travel in between the adventure areas because it is a trek, but our focus is not on the travel. So you never hike more than I think the longest hike on a trek is like 5 miles. So you never hike too far. And if you're on the lake, the longest canoe trek is only like 8 miles. So we're not trying to kill anybody or make you go anything like that. The longest trek overall is just under 30 miles over a week long. So like I say, you're doing about 5 miles a day on average. But our real focus is really on the adventure areas. So we put a lot of programming aspects into the adventure areas, not so much backpacking or canoeing or trekking, even though that is an element. It's just not our main element.
Yeah, so that's
the other thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the other unique thing we do is when you come to ZBase for a high adventure trek, you do not have to bring a tent.
Okay.
We provide all the housing. So we have housing in the forms of Adirondack cabins, which are like 3-sided cabins. There's bunk beds in there. And then we have our tree houses in the Western Village. There's the bunkhouse in the Western Village, or we call it the hotel. And then we actually have what we call tiny cabins. So there are small cabins with bunk beds in there, and those will actually be air conditioned as well. So again, just another unique aspect to our program.
Well, that was a question that I was going to ask about, because that's always a concern. All right, do we need to bring our own tents, our own stuff, or is that provided? And it's different at every high adventure base and every camp. So,
yep. So you're obviously welcome to bring a tent if you want to, but just save the weight. We just bring a nice pad so you can sleep on the bunk beds. They are not padded; but you just bring a nice really pad, and then we encourage hammocks. So bring a hammock, and we want you to do that as often as much as you want to. And if it starts to rain, or if you don't feel like setting up your hammock, we have a housing for you.
Right. That sounds great. Yeah, when you were saying that there are similarities for Philmont High Adventure Base, that sounds very similar in how they do things. It's you're backpacking to activities, and instead of just backpacking. So here you're hiking or you're canoeing to do the activities and then going to the next one. Is that pretty accurate?
Correct.
Okay, that's it.
Correct. And then when you go to each one, you actually spend the night there, get up the next day, travel, do the program, spend the night, do that for about 5 consecutive days. Your first day's in base camp and your last day's in base camp. So they're actually 5 days on the trail.
Very cool. Now, is there a typical, when a troop comes or crew comes, is there a typical size or a minimum size that, or maximum? What's the sizes you guys are looking at as far as crews?
So minimally is 6 people total. So that'd be 4 youth, 2 adults, and then maximum is a crew of 12, and then no more than 4 adults. So you can do 2 adults, 10 youth, or you could do up to 4 adults and 8 youth. So we try to keep our sizes to a maximum of 12.
Okay, that's great. Now, do you have a provisional option, or those that have smaller crews combine into units, or is it just basically you need a minimum of 6?
Yes, we will do provisionally if there's a crew out there that only has maybe can only get 1 adult to come, or there are 1 or 2 youth that want to join. We would probably at first try to team them up with another crew that's coming, right, and try to get them together as a kind of a small contingent. And then if it didn't work out, we definitely want to provide any kind of help we can on ZBase's side. So if there's only 1 adult, we'd probably send one of our staff to go with them to be their second adult while they're on the trail, just to make sure that everybody gets the experience to come.
Okay, awesome. What kind of staff do you have during the season? Are they seasonal staff, or are they a little older, or what's the makeup of your staff at ZBase?
So the staff, we've actually had the opportunity to do some high venture programming the last couple of summers. We called them beta treks just because we were trying out a bunch of stuff. So they're kind of our own little soft opening. All the staff, we prefer to be 18 and up. And then most of our staff is actually going to be 21 and up, just because everything we do is you're going to be some kind of certification, either through the National Camp School, through the BSA, or some other type of certification that requires you to be 21 and older. So most of our staff will be, college age and up, and then if they're not certified, they'll probably we ask it to be 18 and up, and obviously co-ed, and try to find some guys that like to be out there and do this unique stuff. Our staff will be, again, a little bit different, is that when they're in their adventure areas during the program, they actually spend the night on site at the adventure areas and work with the crews in the evenings, and then get them going in the morning, and then get ready for the next crew to come in. So they're actually in the adventure areas when they're working. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. It's nice to have somebody there that knows what they're doing, rather than just releasing you into your own on your own and trying to figure it out. So that's good.
Sure.
Now, where do most of the units come from geographically? I mean, is it around, kind of the what I consider, Oklahoma is still in the Midwest as far as I'm concerned. Where do most people come from?
Right now, since we're just kind of getting going, it's pretty regional at the moment. So you're talking Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, but we're getting some inquiries and some interest from all over the country at the moment. People just want to know what we're about, and hopefully this podcast helps us get the word out even more what we're trying to offer. But I've talked to people from Illinois and Colorado, and as far as ways New York, just wondering what we're doing and wanting more information. So we're trying to be a national draw, but I think in the beginning here we're going to be focused kind of regionally. Like I said, the Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas area will probably be our biggest, one of our biggest attributes that we have is that we're conveniently located. Like I said, we're in that in between stage between the Midwest and the South.
Right.
So we're a pretty good spot right here, and then we're right off a major interstate going through Tulsa. Like I said, we're only about 35 minutes away from downtown. 20-minute drive from the airport. Paved roads all the way out to ZBase. So it's pretty easy to get to. So if you need to get somewhere, and then a lot of the other high adventure bases that you have to get to, travel is a big expense. And I think how we're located, we can help minimize that cost just because where we're located and how easy we are to get to. So travel becomes a lot easier when you don't have to change and go out in the middle of nowhere to get what you are where you need to be. So
well, that's exactly right.
We all know the major high adventure bases around the country, and they offer some awesome programs. Have you been searching for a cool alternative from your typical high adventure trip? As a scout leader, I want to give our scouts some great alternatives. You need to check out highadventurescouting.com. You'll find information on over 30 different council high adventure bases in 24 states. Maybe you're looking for a do-it-yourself option and need some ideas. Maybe you've taken a great trip and you want to share your good fortune with your fellow scouts and scouters. Just send us the details and we'll publish your trip. Whatever your interest, highadventurescouting.com is the one-stop shop for all things high adventure. That's highadventurescouting.com.
And the location's pretty good. It's pretty easy to get to. I've driven through that area many times, and from my location, St. Louis, so it's pretty easy. And it's exciting to see this kind of high adventure option in the area, and that's one of the reasons why we kind of made the list and made the website, highadventurescouting.com, to help units outside the area find these options, because we could not find those kind of things when we were looking after our Philmont trip was canceled in 2018. And that's really what led to all this is, all right, what else is out there? And we we decided, we went out to a scout base in North Carolina for some hiking. That's what we were training for, and it would have been nice to have a bigger list of everything, and now we do. So now we can. Our high adventure committee actually started using the list of high adventure bases that are on the website, which, of course, I pointed them that direction, but it gives a lot more opportunity that usually you just don't know about, and there's a lot
Sure.
of great options out there, and ZBase is one of those. I think it's really a unique offering that is right now not offered anywhere else that I've seen. So now I'm really curious how quickly should units start signing up so your program's not filled up. I'm sure it does get filled up certain treks. So what's the time frame you're looking at that they should get their reservations in by? How early?
So right now we're working on our 2020 sign up. Like I said, this is our inaugural kind of a high adventure kickoff. Like I said, we've done some other high adventure offerings, but have been really small, kind of like I said, our beta testing. But this will be our first year full blown offering everything and all our treks. So we're signing people up right now. And then the way people need to in this summer in 2020 is only the month of June. So it's just 4 weeks that we're offering. So to get in there and get all this stuff in, you got to start planning now, obviously. And then the way we work, we have an online system, so you can choose your date, your trek, and manage your roster and pay all online. But the way it works is you either have to pick your date and or your trek. So the treks are only offered on certain dates. So there is a date that's really works for especially the adults. Then you need to get on there and pick which date and reserve that date. And then if there's a trek that you really want to do, you may have to go there and pick a different date because it may be taken on the date that you first wanted. So it's kind of there's two choices there to either the dates you can make it or the trek that you really want. And I think it's a first come, first serve. And we do ask there's a $50 per person deposit to reserve your date and trek. And once the money is deposited in there, then that trek and that date is taken up. So the sooner the better to reserve your trek and or your date. And then as soon as that's filled up here pretty soon, we are going to go ahead and start offering for 2021, just because we know high adventure takes a lot of planning. And so we know as soon as we get this one filled up, people will start looking at 2021 already. So we'll be opening that probably early spring. We'll be opening up 2021 already.
Oh, I know for sure. We're just about ready to have a meeting in the next couple of weeks to discuss 2021 and beyond, and for our troop. And it does take a lot of time, and it's expensive depending on where you're going. So you have to really plan that out. So now your high adventure base, what's the typical cost for individuals?
So for our high adventure program, it's $550 per person, adults included. And we do that because the adults get the same program. We actually want the adults to participate in everything that we do. So it's $550 per person. And like I said, it's a $50 per person deposit to reserve your stuff, everything. So
okay, well, that's an easy cost. Same thing for everybody. So I think sometimes I enjoy some of the high adventure stuff more than our scouts, which I guess I'm just a big kid. I love that. I love
Sure.
that stuff. So now I did see there were some interesting options that you listed on your website. One was obviously you have kayaking and canoeing where you can actually get merit badge in those areas. So there is an option for that, but it's related to the programs you have there. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we do beyond the high adventure program. We do basically year-round programming, and so we keep expanding that. The more adventure areas that we open, we actually expand that more and more. And so this last year, we started off in the spring, and we offered a certified angler instructor course, and that's where you get to go and learn how to teach kids how to fish. So it's a great long weekend of fishing, and you talk about fishing, and then you go fishing, and you learn about fly fishing, and then get to go fly fishing. So it's just a long weekend, all about fishing and how to get kids up and outdoors and how to go out there and fish. We do wilderness first aid courses, BSA lifeguard training. And then this past few summers, we've opened up our July. We do a Weeblos Aquatics camp. And so we bring some Weeblos out to do some unique stuff with Weeblos, and they get to play in the pool, get to go canoe on the lake, and get to go fishing. And then we offer merit badge weekends. And so we actually able to offer a swimming life-saving option. So you get to earn 2 merit badges over the course of 3 days, and then a canoe kayaking merit badge weekend. And then in the fall, we actually do what we call fish camp. We do get to earn 3 merit badges: fishing, fly fishing, and fish and wildlife management. And in the BSA, once you get all 3 of those, you get the complete angler award.
Right.
And then we also offer, we call it, it's called Rising Stars. It's a sporting clay competition for older scouts and venture crews. And they come out and get to use our 18 station sporting clays. And we put on a competition for a day, and then they get to earn awards and prizes for doing that, and then have a big barbecue lunch and enjoy each other's company for a day. And like I said, then we will keep expanding those. We call them adventure weekends. And then as we open up some of our adventure areas, we'll have specific weekends where we get just open that one adventure area open just for that weekend. We'll probably do some unique programming, so it's not similar to our high adventure treks, but do something unique with it, and then be able to use that adventure area during the off season.
Right, and that was another question I had: is this facility able to be used for certain programs during kind of what you consider your off season outside of summer? So that definitely.
So it's all ZBase related, and so everything we do is trying to obviously attract more people to our high adventure programs, but then use it year round. And then a lot of our facilities are able to rent out and be used for corporate use or non-scouting use. So we've actually done that with our sporting clays already. We have several organizations that have been contracting with us to rent our facilities out and use them for their benefit. And then obviously that helps us use the facilities, and then put that money back into ZBase to maintain the facilities and keep them growing.
Right. That's cool. Now, any other interesting facts that I guess one of my last questions would be expansion of the dates. Are you looking at 2021 expanding further than June, or what's the or is that kind of in discussion to see what's available, what you can do?
Yeah, obviously we believe that once word gets out and people know us a little bit better, they're going to start coming a lot more. We kind of just did June this first year, just because we're unique and we offer a lot of really great stuff, some adventures out there for people. Like you said, a lot of people just don't know at the moment where we're at and what we offer. So I think once we get our first year in our belt, we'll be expanding pretty rapidly. But as far as dates for 2021, we don't know that yet. Right. But I anticipate that we will expand those out. And then we have some future growth opportunities to, as we get later on in the summertime, to do different types of treks. As it gets towards the end of July and into August, we have belief that we offer all aquatics treks, where you can take some of our adventure areas that deal with aquatics and use in the lake. As it gets warmer and warmer, we'll get there in the water and cool down. So lots of unique ideas that we can expand to. But as far as dates and go, we plan to expand. We just don't know what that will look like until we kind of get our first year underneath our belt and see what that looks like.
Exactly. Now, what's is it typical age range for boys that like you see in most high adventure bases, or what's the minimum age that boys can come?
So it's pretty much just venturing age. So it's 13 and completed 8th grade, or 14. So pretty typical. If there is scouts that are close, we can have that discussion. A lot of it we have found through our testing and stuff. A lot of the physical elements, even though you don't have to hike as far every day with the actual adventure areas, there are some physical components to that. We just want to make sure scouts are physically and mentally strong enough to have fun with it. We don't want anybody to have a bad time or get hurt. So we found that was a pretty good age, but they're close and they're mature. That'll be a discussion we would have with the adult advisors. And if they were close to that age, we could make an exception depending on how the adult leader felt that they would handle some of those physical and mental challenges.
That's what I would find. I mean, you really need. There's a maturity level and there's physical level that boys will go through at that point, and I, it's one of those things that you need to. And girls, do you have girl treks, or is it all together, or what's? I kind of forgot about that. So.
Yeah, obviously we're always in the mind of being offering co-ed options. So especially for venture crews. So that was something we've always been set up to do. So we are set up to welcome our Scouts BSA female troops as they sign up. So we're excited to see that happen as that grows. That program continues to grow in the BSA as well.
I've been in scouting a long time, and I have to remember, there are females in Scouts BSA now. So this is a new thing for me too. So, but sure. Anything else? Any other interesting things that we didn't cover today that you'd like to mention?
No, we seem like we covered most of it. I think the big thing is for people to keep up with us. We post a lot of stuff about construction and what the adventure areas look like on our Facebook and Instagram and all our social media. So you can find all that. Facebook, it's at ZBase. And then Instagram, it's ZBase_OK. So you can find all this. We post a lot of really cool pictures. And then check out our website at ZBase.camp. And it's a pretty unique website that shows you all the adventure areas and all the treks. And then obviously you can sign up online and do everything on our online system. And really cool on the mobile version of the website, there's actually a compass that actually works, which is really cool. So
I'm gonna have to check that out.
That part out. So that was really unique. Get on your phone, and there's a little compass on there that actually turns and it actually works as a compass. So it's a pretty cool little feature that I like to highlight. So, but it's a pretty good looking website. Lots of great information. Obviously, people are welcome to contact me at zbase@okscouts.org for an email. And then all my information's on there on the website as well. So we can always happy to answer questions and tell more of the story of ZBase and what we're offering and where we came from and where we want to go. So
awesome. Well, Scott, I'm sorry. Thanks for joining us today. And I appreciate you taking the time. Now I want to thank Scott Thiessen.
I appreciate the invite. And
that's all right. Go ahead.
No, so like I said, appreciate the invite and you talking more about high adventure here in scouting.
Awesome. Thank you. Now I want to thank Scott Thiessen, director at the Zink High Adventure Base, and obviously better known as ZBase near Tulsa, Oklahoma, for joining us today. You can get more information on their programs at zbase.camp. That's zbase.camp, not .com, .camp.
Thanks for joining us today. And remember to tell your friends about this podcast. You can find us online at highadventurescouting.com, on Facebook or Instagram. If you have any questions or ideas for future podcasts, just email us at info@highadventurescouting.com. This podcast and website are independent and not affiliated with any youth organization. Happy high adventure! This has been a production of High Adventure Resources, 2018. All rights reserved.